Hello.
Ulavinaka, Michelle.
Ulavinaka Sulu. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Isa, our first International Jazz Day stream.
Yes.
We've only been planning for quite a while, and here we are, International Jazz Day stream. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Celebrating International Jazz Day. We did do a 30-minute stream on the day on Instagram, but we had sound issues, so we're Zooming, and this is our official one.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah, thank you for joining us. It's International Jazz Day, which is a wonderful day, the 30th of April, where the jazz community fosters peace and global harmony. It's an initiative that was started by Herbie Hancock with UNESCO support, and we welcome you all to the stream. Thank you, Suluo, for being here and for hosting it.
Thank you, Michelle, for giving me the opportunity to dive into International Jazz Day, and for encouraging me to come out and do more of this. We'll dive right into it. So I am Suluo Daunivalu from Museum of Pacific and Oceanic Arts, which is based in Riga, and I currently manage Michelle Brown's music, who is based in Cairo, Egypt. And together we have done a few collaborations which have been quite successful so far, I think. What do you think, Michelle, in terms of our working collaborations?
I am so grateful and feeling so incredibly blessed to have had you take me under your wing, under the management wing of the Museum of Pacific and Oceanic Arts. I'm so grateful for that. And that happened last year, and almost immediately we released the Bliss album, which was the compilation of songs that had been recorded 20 years ago. The majority are originals of Felix Chaudhry from Fiji, and they were all done in Sydney, Australia. Henry Foon from Fiji did all the music, and there were some live musicians as well on the tracks. Victor Rounds, Apakukina Vakalo, George Knight, Adrian Cunningham, as you can hear, most of them Fiji. So that was a really amazing start for us to be able to have that album come out as our first collaboration. Museum Pacific and Oceanic Arts with Michelle Rounds releasing the Bliss album, which was very Fiji based. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and when I got involved, when we did the first album, the Bliss album, it was just so nostalgic for me to hear the voices of all the people, well, the work that they have put in, and the names that you of the people that you worked with were people that I grew up with in the music industry in Fiji, and so it was quite nostalgic moment for me, because I was already in Europe, and just to have that Fiji connection with you again was just quite amazing and incredible. And thank you, Michelle, for that opportunity.
Oh, thank you, because those names are legends, as our Fiji viewers will know. You know, they will recognize those names. Yeah,
absolute legends. Isa, so tell me your work with the Amman Jazz Festival and the Cairo Jazz Festival. You're heavily involved in a lot of jazz movement in the Middle East. So would you like to elaborate more on
Yes, it's all jazz. I'm in Egypt, which is simply where we're based. I live in Egypt. We're based here. I've been gigging regularly right up until last year. This is the first year that I don't have a regular gig in Cairo. So most of my work is online. I gave 4 years to the Cairo Jazz Festival. That was an interesting ride. I got a lot from them. I learned a lot. because of that, there was a lot that was lost in translation. I mean, their first language is not English. My first language is not Arabic. So, there were a lot of ups and downs. But, when people, and a lot of people ask me the question, why are you working for the Cairo Jazz Festival? And I just said, I love it. I love that festival. I love that festival. It's a beautiful festival. So that was the reason I did that. And, with great blessings and gratitude to everyone involved in that, because of them, that's how my relationship with the Amman Jazz Festival started, which was in 2014. The Cairo Jazz Festival introduced me to Ms. Lama Hasboun. Now, she is the owner of Orange Red, and Orange Red produces the Amman Jazz Festival yearly. And she immediately brought us out. Yeah, she brought us out to Amman that year. I did Christmas jazz. And pretty much almost every year after that, I think we've averaged yearly trips to Jordan since then, so 2014. And then I joined her at the end of 2018. And I'm with her just on a consultancy basis. We just back and forth on all the projects that she's doing. All the big stuff is with her team. But I'm very honored to be involved with them. And yeah, we've just completed a fabulous video for International Jazz Day as well. And that's under the umbrella of the Amman Jazz Festival coming up in September.
That is incredible. I mean, saying that, when I first heard that there's a huge jazz movement in the Middle East, like who would have thought that? And, there's a huge following for that as well in the Middle East. And, when I came to visit you in Egypt, I was quite surprised that, that, Middle East Muslims, people don't associate the music. And just to see the interest and the following, it's incredible.
It is interesting. It is quite amazing, really. I mean, it falls sort of into the category of classical music, which is, so, I mean, these are niche market genres, just niche market. You don't have a lot of people going to classical concerts. It may be big in the world, but it's not big. When it comes to music, the big stuff is, of course, the pop and the rock and all of that. That's the big stuff. So there's always that joke. How do you make $1 million from jazz? Start with 2 million. After you've lost your first million, you'll still have $1 million left. It's never been the money maker. Having said that, with all honesty, I'm so grateful to jazz, because that has been the music I've done, over the last 20 more years, and it has kept me together. Jazz is what has paid all the bills and done everything for me, helped me to raise my son, so I'm grateful for that. But generally speaking, so as you say, it's interesting that there is a following for jazz in the Middle East. Yeah.
But that's the amazing thing about the music and jazz genre in general. It has the capacity, and the capacity to reach out to everyone, and everybody identifies with that sort, whether it's jazz or classical music or other musical genres. It's incredible just to see how people, the following, despite their cultural backgrounds or religious backgrounds, everybody kind of gravitate towards music generally.
Yes. Yeah, and I think this is the key. It transcends everything, and this is what International Jazz Day is about too, but it transcends all borders. And people say jazz, oh, I don't like jazz, but then they say to me, oh, I've never liked jazz, but I like what you do. And I say to them, well, that's jazz. Jazz is a big fat genre. It's huge. There's Latin jazz, swing, bebop, Afro-fusion jazz, Arab rhythm jazz. Anything that you can think of, you can jazz it. We have so much Oriental jazz here in the Middle East. Amazing. But it's jazz. It's definitely jazz, the chord progressions, the style, it's jazzy. So it's a very big fat genre, and it covers a lot of areas, you can fill a lot of gaps.
And it's just great to know that, with International Jazz Day, a day that all, jazz musicians, jazz artists, and everyone involved with jazz, it's a great day for people to come out and just celebrate yeah, amazing journey.
Exactly.
And paying tribute to all great jazz musicians that have gone before us.
Yeah.
Can you, having said that, do you have any favorite jazz artists that you follow or that you would like to tell us about?
I think Betty Carter was an inspiration for me. Betty Carter was just phenomenal. Sarah Vaughan, the really old
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing voices.
Amazing, amazing, and just a beautiful style. Just that style is amazing. So the question now is the call to prayer very loud? Or can you?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But well, yeah, it's that time of the day.
Yeah,
So
it's that time of the day. So yeah, no, I mean, there are so many young, modern, upcoming jazz musicians now. I think what I want to push is that Fiji starts to register, Fiji starts to get on the map. I'm the only person that officially registered for International Jazz Day representing Egypt. The only person.
Egypt.
The only
really?
one.
The whole
I
of
don't.
Egypt?
Sorry?
For the whole of Egypt?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't understand exactly what's going on. I'm not sure why they don't do it. There's so many incredible jazz musicians here in Egypt. But maybe I don't know what the reason is that they don't support International Jazz Day. But I would like to push our Fiji musicians to start supporting. It's very, very easy. There is nothing involved in so much as just go onto the jazzday.com website and register what you're doing on the 30th or around the 30th and simply dedicate it to Jazz Day. There's no cost involved. There's no registration fee. There's nothing that you have to actually do. And then it can be either a performance. If you're doing a gig, just say, hey, I dedicate this to International Jazz Day. Video it, if possible. If it's a live stream, just talk about it. Anything that you do that's related to jazz or jazz awareness, jazz appreciation, peace, global harmony, all of this covers what International Jazz Day is about. And I would love to see Fiji on the map. It's that simple. It's that simple. Yeah.
It's an incredible movement. Come on, Fiji, be part of the jazz movement and take part in International Jazz Day.
Yes, and we've got Peta Siolepa from the Samoana Jazz Festival. They just had a big jam at one of the fabulous places in Samoa. Video, bits of video. It doesn't have to be fully professional, video bits and clips and that. There was stuff in the newspaper. This is what we want. And they just did that on International Jazz Day. Mine is just this. You and I are talking about jazz. I might sing something. Run, I love to run my hand and say your hair. And, and that was actually one of the later songs, which is not that jazz, but it's jazzy. And, that is the contribution. There's the contribution that you're making and supporting.
No, go on. Sorry, I was just going to talk about Rhythm of the Evening because I read so many people say, I love the latest release you guys have done, which is amazing because it's it's a mix, but it's it's quite jazzy. It
is jazzy because he's very jazzy. Guitarist Suzuki is wow, he's amazing. And that's another story. I'm going to just tell that story very quickly, which was in 2020. Before reconnecting with you, in January, I had a message on Instagram from a company saying, hi, we'd like you to be a live streamer and we'll pay you. I didn't even know what live streaming was, never heard of it. My husband did know and he told me, he said, oh, it's a bananas, it's like this and that. And I said, oh, how interesting. I left that. About a week later, I went back to that message. I said, they're going to pay me. What are we talking about? So I looked at it. I signed the contract. My husband and I both went in. He was singing and playing Sufi, which he's still doing. I was doing jazz. 2 months later, I lost every single gig I had. The virus arrived in Egypt. That live streaming not only supported us financially for the entire year, it also gave me the opportunity to be expressing myself in jazz. I sang jazz. I could keep up my chops. I could learn stuff. You know, you would see bassists, jazz bassists would be live streaming their rehearsal. The particular app I'm talking about is specifically geared to artists, as in musicians, dancers, sculptors, painters, you know, anyone that's doing art of in any form. It's really geared towards that community. So I felt so blessed and grateful to have been offered that. And then on the app, I see, of course, a million other fantastic musicians and a lot of big names, because they also, everyone started to be on this level playing field.
Yeah.
All the big names, all the up and coming, all of a sudden, nobody had any work. Nobody.
Yeah, because that's when the COVID hit, all the live gigs.
Exactly. So all of a sudden, you've got big names on these live streaming apps.
Yeah.
Connecting. And anyway, I found guitarist Suzuki. I said, I love your work. There are other musicians on there too that I feel the same way about. I said, you know, listen to this. And I sang something over one of his guitar streams. And he said, wow, let's do it. And we did it. And it came out, and you supported that. That was another museum, Pacific and Oceanic Arts produced single. And that was Into the Sky, first one. And that was last year, on August the 19th. And the second single, which guitarist Suzuki and I did, was Rhythm of the Evening, which you again supported. And that was on the 28th of February this year. Yeah.
Wow, it's really an amazing community. So you know, getting into 17 Live was quite a saving grace at that time, and just to meet all different artists and, you know, be able to come out with collaborations is quite incredible. You know,
it never happened before, and this is something that we're just going to hold on to. We're not going to let that go. You know, even though we're doing live gigs and, you know, the world is sort of coming back to face to face, we're still going to hold on to this, because we realize that there's a huge, it's not a market, it's just a huge population of people and musicians. There's networking, there's anything you can think of online.
Yeah, it's also the logistics of it. It's amazing how you can, where, you know, back in the day, like 20 years ago, everything has to be done in a studio, everything has to be, the band has to come together, and, you know, so the logistics of organizing a band or just releasing a single was quite a massive undertaking, whereas now it's everything is online and on certain platforms where you can just agree, collaborate, and
that's the technology, you know, that's the technology. So I want to thank you for today, and I wanted to ask you about you. Can you tell us a little bit more about the Museum of Pacific and Oceanic Arts in Riga? And I thank you and the museum for being involved with International Jazz Day. And just please tell us a little bit about.
Oh, well, so the Museum of Pacific and Oceanic Arts in Riga started in 2014. I had the gallery. It was when I first arrived in Europe. I left Fiji with a few with artists that I represent, so mainly painters and sculptors, and I kept that going. So coming to Europe, the idea was to just keep pushing Pacific arts, Pacific artists in general, and you know, just promote the Pacific Islands and its people in these parts, because most people know very little about the Pacific. So that's how I started Museum of Pacific.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. So I guess what we're looking forward to is eventually all hooking up someday in Riga. And I know that you're also supporting or assisting us in attending the Amman Jazz Festival this year.
Yes.
Which is in September. And we thank you for that. Yeah.
I hope that we will be able to have a virtual, well, not virtual, like a actual face-to-face meeting at the Amman Jazz Festival.
That would be amazing. I wish we could tie in some art with that as well. Let's see what is possible.
Yeah, I mean, because
Yeah.
everything's opened up and people are moving again. So that's exciting. So any other future gigs happening aside from that?
Well, I mean, we do have Fiji, and Samoana happens at the end of the year. I'm not sure how they're going to do with their festival.
Yeah.
But you know, there's always stuff on the horizon. I'm also working on the third single with guitarist Suzuki. He's about to send me some material, so that's you know, I'm just so grateful that all of that's out there. Please do follow both of us,
Yeah.
and michellerounds.com, and I guess yeah, that's it. You know, there I go, there I go, there I go, there I go. Pretty baby, you are the soul that stops my control. Such a funny thing, but every time I'm near you, I never can behave. You give me a smile, and then I'm wrapped up in your magic. Music go round. Okay, let's go.
Please, if you're listening to our recording now, follow Michelle Rounds on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all social media platforms, and you can find her music on Spotify and and on any music platform that that you find. Look up Michelle Rounds music, and you'll be able to find her
Thank you,
music.
Suluo Daunivalu, Museum of Pacific and Oceanic Arts. Thank you for all that you do for us. Thank you for being you.
Michelle Rounds. Happy International Jazz Day. Yeah, we had some concerts and amazing performances in Riga for the International Jazz
You
Day.
attended.
Yes, I attended a few, so that was pretty good. But I'm looking forward to our face-to-face meeting at International Jazz Day. Yeah, that should be good.
Thank you, and lots of love to our viewers. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for joining us. More demanda.
More demanda.